Welcome to 6th grade history. This is lesson 161. We're going to be looking at pages 328 to 331, doing the comprehension check on that page. There isn't any homework for this lesson, but you do have a quiz 36, so I'm going to ask a few questions and let you go take the quiz, all right? All right, what is the capital of Peru? What's the capital of Peru? Lima. What is the landlocked country with 2 capitals and the world's highest capital city? Oh, sorry, those are 2 different things. The landlocked country with 2 capitals. Bolivia. And then the world's highest capital city is La Paz, right? One of the 2 capitals there. The highest navigable lake in the world? Lake Titicaca. All right. Who were the Indians who established a great empire in the Andes Mountains? The Incas. And who was the man after whom the Americas was named? Amerigo Vespucci. Very good. Who was the George Washington of South America? Simón Bolívar. And the names of 2 other military men who helped free South America were what? Jose de San Martin and Bernardo O'Higgins. All right. Just 2 more questions and then I'll let you go take your quiz. Which country is known for its fine coffee? Colombia. Okay, very good. And South America's largest lake is what? Lake Maracaibo. Lake Maracaibo. All right, go ahead and pause the video, go take your quiz, and then when you come back, we're going to be looking at Brazil. All right, I hope you did well on that quiz. We are looking at Brazil, and Brazil is the 5th largest country in the world in area. It is very large. It covers almost half of the South American continent. And so it's mainly has the Amazon River. That's its main part of Brazil is because it runs straight through it with many, many rivers that branch off of that. The 3 rivers that water the south plateaus are Paraguay, Parana, and Uruguay, okay? And so that's the rivers that branch to the south, and then in the north, or in those areas, there's coffee plantations, cattle ranches, cotton fields, pine forests, and vineyards in that region. Some of the things that happened in its history, they were a big place to sell, to buy slaves and to take those, because when Portugal came to settle the country, they forced the Brazilian Indians to work and to do all of their slave labor, but many of them died either from revolting against their masters or from a disease. And so when that happened, they brought in slaves from Africa. And so they were more than 1/3 of the slaves that are brought from Africa were sold in Brazil. And so that's an interesting fact. It's not a very good one, but they did gain some independence from Portugal. It was because there was the son of the king that came to rule, and his name was Pedro. But he wasn't a very liked ruler, and so they made him resign, and his son Pedro II came to be the emperor at the age of 15. Now, Pedro II was a good ruler, and he actually did oppose slavery, and the years 1840 to 1889 were known as the Age of Pedro, because of all the good that he did, but he knew that because there were many slave owners that would be upset with him, he knew that he couldn't just free all the slaves because he would have a revolt on his hands. And so he gradually, he declared that all children born in slavery would be free. And then he let the elderly go. But while he was away on a trip, he was in Europe, his daughter, Princess Isabel, yielded to the pressure from all of those that were trying to free the slaves, and she just freed all of them. 700,000 slaves were freed. And so then the whole royal family was banished to Europe and would no longer be the ruler over Brazil. And they had military rulers after that. But Pedro was still honored as a hero, and is still honored as a hero because he was a good ruler over them. They actually did have a big part in World War I and World War II. They were the only South American country to take part in that, but their Navy helped keep the waterways, the lanes of the ship lanes open for Allied ships so that they could have ease of travel during that time. And so that was something that is important in their history. They have a prosperous economy. They produce a lot of coffee, as we saw. They are the world's largest producer of coffee. And even though Colombia is fine coffee, they do produce a lot of it, and they are considered to have the finest coffee in the world. But Brazil does still have a lot of coffee, and theirs is still good. Their coffee plantations are called fazendas, and they're experts at roasting them, and they also produce a lot of cacao, which is what we get chocolate and cocoa and cocoa butter from. And so they produce a lot of that. They are not the world's they don't produce most of the world's cacao. That comes from West Africa, but they do produce a lot of it. So in addition to coffee and cacao, they produce bananas, sugarcane, citrus fruits, cattle, sheep. They have very large plantations, some of them as big as Oregon, which is a big state. They also have some natural resources with forests, mineral deposits, and water power. They have a lot of hydroelectricity. They have most of the nation's electricity is produced by hydroelectric dams. Itaipu Dam on the Parana River is one of the most powerful. And so they're ahead in that development of that technology. So that's really where they have excelled. They're, of course, the fifth largest country in population. They have almost as many people as all the other countries of South America combined, and that's a lot. So they are very, very large, lots of people there. Almost 90% Catholic, though, and so they are the largest Catholic nation in the world because of that. But there are still missionaries that go there to talk to the people, and so they have some of their big cities that we're going to look at. Rio de Janeiro was the capital to begin with, but it was near the coast, and so they were trying to encourage the people to move more inland and to develop the rest of the country. And so they moved it to Brasilia. So that's the new capital, but a lot of people still remained on the coast. And so Rio de Janeiro it was named because it means River of January. And so the explorer that founded it He thought it was the mouth of a great river. And so he is known for that. Guanabara Bay is one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. And you'll see on the next page that you have listed the 7 natural wonders of the world. There's Mount Everest is the highest mountain, Victoria Falls in Africa, the Grand Canyon, the Great Barrier Reef in Australia, or off of Australia, the Northern Lights, which it doesn't have a physical location, but that's in the northern sky, but like Alaska, Canada, that region, and then some other places. Paracutan, the volcano in Mexico, and then 7 is Guanabara Bay, the harbor at Rio de Janeiro. And so it's a very large bay, and they even have that mountain, Sugarloaf Mountain, and they have a cable car that will take the tourists up there to see. And they are very rich in culture there, and so you'll be reading more about that. Sao Paulo is the largest city in South America and the 4th largest in the world. It's the industrial center of Latin America, and so many people, especially missionaries, will go to there to learn Portuguese, to study it, so that they can converse with people, and they can know that it's much easier to talk to someone if you are speaking the same language. And so there's Manaus, and that's the center of trade and commerce on the Amazon. And then Brasilia, of course, is the capital. And so the government buildings, it's shaped like a drawn bow and arrow. So the residential district form the bow. The government buildings form the top of the tip of the arrow, while business, cultural centers, recreational facilities make up the shaft. So it's kind of interesting. So if you were to ever go down there and see it from the air, you'd get to see that. So most of the people work in the government, and then the secondary employment is construction. So they have a lot of industrial things that they're doing down there. And so, all right, so I'm going to let you go ahead and read these pages 228 to 231 and answer this comprehension check on paper, and then you'll be done with history for the day. So you should have health left, and then you will be done for Monday. So we will see you in the next lesson.